Hey, darling.
Hello.
How are you, Sonia? What's going on?
I am so good. I'm in a good place.
Yay, I love it. So I wanted to bring you on because I've known you for so long, 15 years, 20 years, 35.
You know, years is nothing but a number, so.
There you go. Yeah, I think we met in 2005, and it's 2021. So yes, we've known each other for
Yeah.
forever and a day.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just been so inspiring to watch your personal and your professional development. I know when we're around our friends, we're always like fussing and fighting, but in private, we get to laugh together and cry together. So we have like this real relationship and this bond. And even though you're older than me, I still feel like you're my little sister. But the funny thing is that even though I feel like you're my little sister, I still think that I can come to you for knowledge and wisdom. So that's why I wanted to bring you on today. So let's just start off with who you are. Tell me who this amazing Sonia person is. The only thing you cannot do is tell me a title or any role. So who is Sonia the woman? Those are the rules.
Ooh, wow. I see why you didn't give me the question beforehand. Sonia the woman is an immigrant who grew up in New York City, and through that experience has faced many of her important or big decisions in her life.
Mm-hmm.
So as an immigrant, and I think, every immigrant knows, is that you can't do anything on your own. You are so much better when people help you. When there's a community around you, when there's people you can rely on around you. And that has put me towards the work that I do now, which is helping business owners, entrepreneurs grow their business. I think there are so many different ways to give back to the world, to people. And that has been my calling, is to help others achieve their dreams.
Yeah.
Because that's what people did for my parents and for my family. So that's my way of giving back. It also has inspired this travel bug in me, seeing how people are from different countries and how they build a life here in the United States or anywhere, how they raise children, how they interact with people from other cultures, and the food, my God, the food, that is one of my biggest passions, is travel and food. If anyone is listening to me and you need to hire somebody where you want somebody who can just taste all the food, talk about it, and then travel and take naps, I am your girl. That's what I would love to do 24/7. But being raised in New York City has obviously opened up the world of food to me from different countries, different ethnicities. But it's just so much more different when you go to that actual country to eat, and interact with the people and the grandmas and the aunties that are cooking them. So that's who Sonia is also. She loves to travel. She loves to eat. She will not shy away from whatever you put in front of her. But also going back to that immigrant experience, obviously growing up, you butt heads with your parents, they don't understand this different side of you, this American side of you, right? but it also incited me. I wanted to know exactly the experience that they went through being an immigrant, not knowing English, right? Like, how do you find jobs? How do you build that community that you left? And so, I mean, these are things that, I just thought about, but I'm so lucky. I was so lucky that the universe created this opportunity for me to actually live in a different country, be an immigrant in a different country outside of the United States, to really understand many things of my parents that I just didn't before, or I thought it was, annoying part of them, so it really gave me an insight into my parents, of them being older immigrants coming to a different country with children. So that's, going back to Sonia, that's who Sonia is, as what is still. And I continue to travel, love traveling, and I continue to love meeting people from different backgrounds. I think it has enriched my life so much more, you being one of them. So yeah, and that's what I hope to do till it's my time to go.
I hear you. You and I have talked on so many occasions, but I've never heard you put into words or into the context that you did with the immigrant experience. It's like you started from, I was born this way, I became an immigrant, and then this has shaped my life. And I think it's really interesting to see how all those things played in, it's just like coming full circle. So, I traveled and I enjoyed all this amazing food. And then I went to another country and enjoyed all this amazing food. Then I went to other countries, and that kind of sparked your love for travel and food. Outside of the immigrant experience, how does God play a relationship in your life? And the reason I'm asking this is because when I see you, I see this woman who is free, but also fearless. And I'll back up, because I know when people hear the word fearless, it either sounds inauthentic, because no one is fearless, right? You're going to have times when you feel afraid. But the way I've been using the word fearless is that fear is not necessarily something that we possess. It's something that we experience, right? So I like to say that I fear less. I fear space less. So maybe I'm not fearless, meaning having the absence of fear, but maybe I fear less than other people, right?
Oh my God, I love that.
Thank you. So I just wanted to know your experience, because not to jump too far ahead, but you've lived in all these different countries. You've lived in amazing countries, and there's no way you can tell me that you didn't think about what could potentially happen, but you thought about it, but you did it anyways, right? And it wasn't from a place of being naive. It was from a place of being free and fearless and fun, and also trusting. So there's some part where you decided that you trusted yourself enough, or you trusted God enough. So how did all that come into play with all the amazing things that you've been through? What role does God play in your life?
My God, nobody has ever asked me that question, but it's always in the back of my mind. I also travel a lot for work, or I did before the pandemic, and so I'm a born Muslim. I can't say I'm not that I can't say I know I'm not a practicing Muslim, right?
We know.
Muslims come in different shapes and sizes,
There you go.
and spirituality. I've also accepted that. But I have this, I think I am fearless, to take what you just said, of dying.
I love that.
We're all going to die. Right. That is just one of the life's truths.
Right.
And I know I've lived such a fulfilling life that if God decides to take me, even when I sleep, right? I don't have to travel to go.
Yeah.
Then that's my time. And that's okay, because I do believe in not going to bed angry. I, you know, I know I don't call and text you all the time how much I love you and how much you mean to me, but I know you know how much you mean to me because I've told you that.
Of course.
And I've done that to people who really matter to me. And I hope that, they do know. And if they don't, hopefully I'll have tomorrow to tell them.
Right.
But yeah, and I think that's where my
Your
faith
faith.
comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that if it's my turn, it's my turn. And all I ever wanted was to leave the world just a little bit better. And I've gotten a few confirmations that, I've either helped somebody do something or help them think through something differently than they originally had. And so I also feel like I fulfilled my mission. Like, I am good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. I'm definitely going to borrow that because in the back of my head, based on my experiences and my decisions, I know that I'm not afraid of death. Because no one who's afraid of death would jump out of a plane talking about this skydiving. Nobody who's
I don't know why you're asking me this question. You should be answering this question.
But I never thought of it that way. Like, it's just, to your point, it's one of life's truths, right? So it's a circle of life, or, you're born, there's a time for everything, right? And one of those things is that there's a time to die. And it's not to be morbid, or it's not to be like overly graphic or anything, but we're all going to die one day, right? Unless the world comes to an end and then it's just like, poof, it's done. But we're all going to die one day. So living your life in fear is almost like not living at all, right? So why not enjoy every single moment of it? So obviously that's not to say that we're just going to be reckless and do all these crazy things, but enjoy it, right?
Yeah. And, and I think, and I don't know if this is like an American way of saying it, but when we talk about enjoy every moment, like it has to be fierceful and it has to be like fully forceful, right? Like you got to do something crazy to enjoy your life. Like, no, sometimes I make the best coffee in the morning and I'm like, holy bleep, this coffee tastes so good today. So good. And it started my day right. And something simple as that. Or you make really good dinner for friends that's gonna come over. Like enjoy that moment. I think we don't celebrate the small things enough.
There you go. There you go. And I'm definitely guilty of that. Like I'm always looking to the next thing or like planning so much, but I'm really trying to slow down. And when you said that part about the coffee, while I was giggling, I'm like, that is so simple, but so profound, because that's the same experience I have with water. When I'm by a waterfront or the beach or the river or a lake, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could stay here all day. Right. And I do slow down, it just forces me to just take it all in. So enjoying every moment of the day, it's a part of that too. So as you're traveling to the job that you hate, maybe your commute is nice, right? So what I want to do is jump into just a question for you to share your backstory of your life. So you moved here and then what? Like, how do we go from you leaving Bangladesh to you being in Costa Rica right now, right? There's so many twists and turns that happen in the moment, but I want you to share all of that. But before that, tell me about this amazing idea that you have where you talk to people about what you wish you knew. I think it's such a brilliant concept because you don't know what you don't know, right? So it's not like, oh, I wish I knew that, let me just ask, but I don't know what I don't know, so I don't know what to ask. So how did that even come up? And then maybe that will help you to shape into from birth to now.
Thank you. Yeah, so like you, I love talking to people, right? I love learning from people. But it's what we're talking about, right? We have this one lifetime. I don't know when it's going to be my turn to go, right? And so to me, I feel like I don't have all the time in the world to learn, to make all the mistakes and learn from them, right? But I know people have from talking to them. So why not gather those wisdoms, those intergenerational wisdoms from people who have done it, been there, gone through that, right? And have them talk about, in hindsight, you know, what did they wish they had known when they were maybe in their 20s, or maybe before they got married, or, you know, maybe death of a loved one, right? Or friendship, right? Things that they've learned because they've had the honor of living, um, to leave for the generation that's coming behind them. It's kind of like, you know, when you talk to your grandparents and they'll give you advice, these sage advice, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't have the luxury of growing up with my grandparents.
Same.
Or, you know, right, or community elders. And so I wanted to create a place where, you know, I, with the wonderful ways of technology, you know, I could gather those and create a place that everyone can access easily to say, you know, what do I wish I had known before I retired, right? I'm going to be hitting menopause eventually. So I would love for women to tell me what I should know, because they wish they had known when they were going through it.
Right. Yes.
And
No,
so
that's really good.
yeah. So that's what I'm hoping to do. And I think, you know, and it goes to who Sonia is and this amazing life that I am blessed to have lived and continue to live with the her aches and the pains that life has they tend to throw at all of us. I've been so blessed in having amazing people around me who have given me advice. And through that, you know, I've been able to make decisions when the time was right for me, because I've been able to keep that in my head. And I that's my way of giving back, I think, ultimately. And that'll just, you know, it's on the internet, it'll be on the internet, so it'll stay there forever.
Exactly. Yeah. The beauty of technology. People all over the world can hear it.
Exactly.
On demand at their convenience. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are 2 things you wish you knew? Any topic, marriage, work, life, travel, anything.
So in my 20s,
okay.
I have been, obviously y'all know I'm not 20 anymore, you know.
16, couldn't tell.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm somebody that can go with the flow, right? And and I'm somebody that can change their decisions depending on the context, on the people involved, right? On the situation, right? So, you know, in my 20s, as I was climbing up the career ladder, right? I've gotten the feedback that, or you know, I don't know if I've gotten the feedback or it was external feedback from videos you see of amazing leaders, right? And CEOs, is that they know what they want, right? Like they stick to their values, like they stick to their beliefs, like there's no swaying them. They're not a tree, right? Like they're like is oak tree like very solid? I have no idea. Right, but they're like a rock in the stream, and they will never move because they are so they stick to their beliefs, right? Whereas me, I think this goes to my background of being friends with from different, you know, generations, from different cultures, from different religion, is that it all changes different depending on the context, right? And so in my 20s, though, I got all this external feedback that my fluid ways, my flexible ways, actually would not make me into a great leader, you know, a great boss, maybe even a great friend, you know. Yeah, there were moments I've definitely thought that, because, you know, can you rely on me, right? And I really struggled with understanding and accepting that part of me, because I hated that part of me. I wanted to be rigid, and I wanted to stick to my values and what I, you know, how I see this world should be. But only now, going into my 40s, did I realized recently that being fluid made me resilient. It actually made me strong. It made me connect with so many people that I may not have the honor of connecting with if had I been rigid, had I been stuck to my values, right? So, you know, I just saw this saying, which Bruce Lee said, which is I think really sums up what I struggled with, and I wish I had known, is be like water. Being like water does not mean you're weak. Being like water means you can shape mountains.
Ooh.
It's just slow, you know? Like imagine all the mountains that you see, and they've been shaped by water. The fluidity, waters can go into different surfaces, into rocks. They can seep into rocks, the hardest of things. And I just think, I wish I had known that in my 20s, right?
Yeah.
I could have skipped over so many of my securities and having to work on my self-confidence to be this amazing person I am today, but in my 20s.
Right.
So,
I mean, forget 2 lessons. That was deep. And you know what? I'll be honest, like a lot of times people can only give advice from their own experiences, right? Like if I've never been to, let's say, 6th Street, I may not be able to give you directions to get there, right? And a lot of times what happens is that we ask other people for directions for places they've never been. Or people give unsolicited advice because either A, your security or your boldness makes them feel insecure, right? And the reason I'm saying this is because everything that you just described that you think could potentially be a negative or a disadvantage, that's exactly what I love about you. I have a friend who gave me this plaque, and it says, "Shine brightly so others can see their way out of darkness." And the way I feel about you is that you're so free, and I don't mean free in a, oh my gosh, anything goes kind of, that's not when I say free, but you're so unbothered by societal norms, and you're so I don't want to use the word, it's, for me, I don't really see it as being fluid or flexible. I see it as being very, it's almost like you, I don't know, the word that I'm looking for is not coming to me, but what I love about you is that same concept of you being fearless and free is what frees other people, right? So when I see you do something, you inspire me. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. She just picked up and moved to another country, or she rejected societal or cultural norms and did what made her happy. Like when I see that, that inspires me to want to clutch onto my happiness more, instead of looking at someone else and saying, oh, well, this is the blueprint for success. I have to check, go through this whole adult checklist only to end up unhappy. So if I may say, anybody who told you otherwise may have just been jealous.
That's what I say to myself too, make me feel better.
I honestly believe it though. Like, I just feel like this nature that you have just makes other people feel so comfortable, and you really inspire other people to be the best version of themselves, but also to choose themselves. I think a lot of times in life we choose everything else. We choose our religious norms, and I'm saying religious versus spiritual because I think there's a big difference. We choose these religious rituals, we choose these cultural standards, we choose the societal norms, and then at the end of the day we're like, I checked every box, great, now I'm unhappy. So I applaud you for doing what you need to do to be happy. Go ahead, love.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I was thinking of another friend. I met her when I lived in Istanbul and worked there because we worked in the same company, and she's a practicing Muslim. And she actually left the United States, moved to Egypt to actually learn Islam the way it's truly meant to be, is by first learning Arabic, because then so that you can read the Quran and then you can have your own interpretation versus relying on others to tell you what this means. And she is one of the closest friends I have that I have made, and we just established, I'm not anywhere near practicing, right? So, but we travel together. I mean, we maybe we'll live in a communal retirement home together, right? And so I think when you're saying that, or just like, oh, I wonder if it's like openness. Is openness the word?
Yes, that's definitely a part of it. There's definitely a part of it. Yes. Speaking of openness and all these words that I can't figure out the ones that I want to use, you have an amazing love story. Please share your amazing love story.
How are you gonna ask me?
It's so funny because I'm like, wait, the time is running out. I need to get this story in. And this, you have like a 3-decade love story that I'd love for you to sum up.
Sure. Oh my God, I don't even know where to start on this one.
Maybe do it from like a what you wish you knew. So tell us what you, tell us who you are in love with. What were some of the challenges, what you wish you knew, and where you are today.
Oh, okay. I like that. Thank you for that framework. So I am in love with a boy named Gregory Gaskin. And I have been in love with him since college. So I don't think it's wrong of me to say we've been in love together for 20 years. We'll be celebrating our friendship, our support, our love for another 20 years this year. But I have been married to him for 3 years technically. In college, and Greg to this day is the total opposite of who I am. I will invite people I meet at the bar for dinner into my house without being fearless about security.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Where else, Greg is very cautious, right? He's quiet. He's an introvert. I'm an extrovert. I get my energy from people. He gets his energy from spending time with himself. So everything you can think of, it's the total opposite. But we do share love for travel, love for food, love for the experience. And in college, we were good friends, and then I caught myself that I actually fell in love with the man, and on his side too. But eventually, in my mid-20s, I did break it off with him because at that moment, I knew I was not strong enough to fight my family. I didn't want to break my parents' heart. I wasn't strong enough to fight the community because Greg is Black. He's from Barbados, and you guys know him from Bangladesh. And I just knew that I was not. That's how I felt at that time, that I wasn't strong enough. And I also believe that how can I say something doesn't work for me if I actually haven't tried it? And so how can I say, the modern, arranged marriage isn't for me, or a Bangladeshi guy isn't for me if I actually have never tried it, right? Like that's just, how can I stand by that statement? And I do believe that you just never know where your soulmate might be or your love might be. And this includes friendships too, not just love friendships. And so I decided to explore that. I did get married to somebody, a wonderful human being, but it just didn't work out because we just weren't right for each other, to sum it up. And throughout all that experience, throughout me exploring, being fearless with who I am, with what I can stand for, with what I can stand for against, against the community, right? Or help them to understand who I am. I think it's better way of saying it. Greg was always there. He was, and he is actually one of my closest friends in the world. And I think that's where it all starts with, right? Like if you have a wonderful friend who also becomes your partner, that's probably the best way because they're not looking for you to change, but that's a whole different subject.
Nuggets.
Yeah, all right. And so, I've never believed this before, but I do now. I do think there are people in the universe where they're pulled toward each other because of the energy, you know, because I think like God wants you to be together, whatever you're supposed to represent to the world, to the people around you. And so while, you know, we remained good friends, that deep love never went away, no matter who else we were with at that time, no matter what we did, no matter which end of the earth we were at that time. And ultimately, I truly woke up one day and I was like, what the hell am I doing? God gave me this gift. It takes so many people so long to find somebody that they want to be with for hopefully the rest of our lives. And you know, and I also felt that I was strong enough at that time to really defend us, to come as a united front to everybody who may have, you know, different opinions on us being together.
Wow.
So yeah, so 17 years into meeting him, we got married. We had this wonderful wedding in Barbados, and my parents love him now. You know, my mom still struggles with saying his name. It's a little different, you know, but it's funny. It's funny. Yeah.
It's cute. It's all good. And, you know, when you were talking about you having to feeling that you had to fight your family or fight the norms or fight all of that, I think the perspective shift, or where you got your strength from, was that you no longer had to fight the family. You just had to fight for your love and hope that love was strong enough to conquer everything. And I think one of the most beautiful things was, I know I always told you, even if they disown you, Sonia, they're going to come back. They're going to come back. They will, you know, come back and love their child. But what I loved is when we were at the wedding and your dad didn't just give a generic diplomatic speech. He said, and now I gain a son. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. But
I know. I don't think there was a dry eyes in that room.
No, there were tears everywhere. It looked like it rained. But you have a beautiful love story, Sonia, and I thank you so much for sharing your time, sharing your story, and just being the amazing friend that you have been, and this beacon of inspiration. I can't wait to just have everyone learn more about you and see all the other amazing things that you're going to do for the world, for the community, and for all these amazing people that you help. So thank you so much, love.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me talk about me.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.